Hey Crystal, I thought it might be easier to put together a little recording on some recommendations that I have for your course. So one of the things that I noticed was that the home page, like when they click on home, it takes them to this class information, and that's cool, but the actual home page then with your contact information is buried almost in the course. So I thought that might be better for your students to bring that forward so that when they click on home, there's your contact information and everything. We'll talk about that in a minute. The other thing that I noticed is that as a student, when I first came to your class and I was looking, I put my student hat on, I wasn't sure where to get started. Fortunately, the course video was there, right there on that information. So that was really cool, and that helped me understand what you had in play. One of the things that I noticed, and I would recommend you moving to kind of consolidate these things, is when students are working on their weekly homework, they need to go to the course outline on your syllabus to find out what they need to read for the week and any links to any articles and things. And then in your course, the assignments are listed that just basically give them the information about what they're supposed to do. It's just the points. So this is going to show up in your grade book. And then they have to go actually to discussions to click on the link to post the discussion. And so I thought if we could bring all those together, that might help you keep track of what's going on in your class, and it would also help your students. So I was looking for your sandbox to review. I noticed that you taught 1107 last summer. So I opened it up to look for something, and I noticed that your home page was there with your contact right at the front. The modules link was active. That's where you provided the guidance for your students. So I stole the content that you had from your 1107 from last summer, and I dropped it in this new sandbox that I created, and I'll push out an invite here to you. If you haven't received it yet, you should get it soon. So I liked how you did that. So I stole that content and that structure from summer. And so modules page, then you could have that week 1, there's your class information, and right off the bat there's your course video that you could direct them on what to do. Before I forget, the syllabus, right now the syllabus, the way you have been used to adding the syllabi in your courses is to attach a file. In fall of 22 we adopted simple syllabus, so that I'm seeing that as a link in my sandbox course, and you'll see this as well, but it's not set up yet. It's not a live course, if you will. Once you have that live course that's in an upcoming semester, that link to simple syllabus will be there, and it will put in all of the institutional language that's required on a syllabus, and then it will allow those instructor components to be editable by you. So it's a new feature that we have. You probably ran across the content, the information about simple in 1602 in instructional methods, but that will be alive and well in your upcoming course that you have. So I'll encourage you to use the simple syllabus as opposed to the uploaded attached file. One of the other things I noticed is introductions. You have an introductions assignment, and that's awesome. I love introduction assignments. In your video, you indicated that and in the instructions, you're indicating that they're going to introduce themselves to their classmates. With this particular type of assignment, students aren't going to be able to see their posts from other classmates. When you use an assignment tool in Canvas, it is only interaction between you and the student. So when students submit, it goes to you. Other students or classmates are not going to see those introductions. So you might move that to a discussion board where they can post that introduction and other students can see it. So I'm going to go back to modules here, and then I'm going to jump on that when we looked at the sandbox for review, we talked about details of their discussion being available in the syllabus, and then the assignments you use to have that show up in the grade book so you could award points. And then the discussion is actually where students go to do everything. So in this sandbox, what I would recommend is using a discussion board to house everything. So in the discussion board for Chapter 1, you could put all the details of what they're supposed to do. You could put the details. I would encourage you to remind them of what the details are. It's perfectly fine to put it in the syllabus so they know what's expected of them going forward. But I think as you add that discussion, putting that in as a reminder of what is expected of them would be cool. And then the cool thing with discussion boards is that you can make them graded. So as we scroll down, we can click on graded, and then you can go in and you put how many possible points. You can put due dates. You can put all that stuff available to them. I'm going to go ahead and click save. And then you could go a step further. If you have a rubric that you want to apply, you can click on the three dots menu and click on add rubric, and that would allow you to build a rubric for that particular discussion board. So if you are looking for like these criteria that you have here about the sentences and things like that, you could move all that into a rubric if you actually wanted to. And then Canvas rubrics are interactive grading. So that's kind of cool. So I just wanted to point that out, that that is available. And having that Chapter 1 assignment, everything is right there. The details of what they're supposed to read, the post that they're supposed to make, they do it right there. And marking it as graded would allow you it to show up in your grade book. So if we go to grades, we would see Chapter 1 is there. These module names can be what you need. I know you're kind of trying to move from 8-week to 16-week, and sometimes that gets confusing. You could name these by chapter if that's easier for you. Modules can be named whatever makes sense to you and your students. Just keep that in mind. So one of the other things that we talked about in our email exchange was the rubric. You were using an existing rubric for your midterm and your final. And then Rob had also approached you about adding some multiculturalism to your rubrics. As I was looking at your course video, it pointed out the rubric that you have available. So that gave me some insight as to what you're hoping for, that you're already using in your course. And then this would be a good opportunity for me to show you how that could work for you and how you can pull in the multiculturalism. So for midterm exam, we made it, you had it as an assignment. So we put the details. I stole the details out of your syllabus and put it right there in the assignment so that students can see those details. When you are editing, of course, you can put in the number of points that's available. You can indicate how they will submit this work to you, which file uploads is what you had available, I believe. And then you can put your due date. You can put available. When is this link to this assignment available to them? Certain time frame there if you so choose. And then once you save that, when you go back to this screen, in this area right here, there's a plus rubric. So I clicked on plus rubric and I built a rubric using your existing rubric. So of course you would want to look over it to make sure I didn't miss anything. But the course objective 1, and that you would mark them on 40, 30, 20, 10 point scale. So there's your 3 objectives that you're having them write about. Then I brought in your rubric criteria on organization, word choice, and sentence fluency, and as well as conventions. So that's your rubric in an interactive format. So students can see it up front, and then with it built inside Canvas, you also get to use that as an interactive grading tool. So we'll take a look at that in just a second. So as far as the multiculturalism, that would click on the pencil for you to go in and edit. So if there's things you needed to edit about the particular criteria, the rating, the points, whatever it is you need to edit, you need to delete an item, you need to add an item, and also, before I forget, If we want to use this rubric as interactive grading rubric, we need to click that check mark, use this rubric for assignment grading. And that will allow that interactive grading by the instructor. So we can click on Find an Outcome, and the multiculturalism outcomes have already been imported into your Sandbox course. You can take a look at them and see which of these apply. Maybe there's one, maybe there's two, maybe there's multiple. So what we would do is, let's imagine that the attitudes, regarding openness, are assessed in the assignment. We'll click on M2 Attitudes on Openness. And then this checkbox here, will allow those points to also be included in your current assignment points. So right now yours is worth 200. If we leave this checked and bring it in, it would be worth 204. So I'm guessing that you may not want those to affect your total score. So I'm going to uncheck that. And then we're going to go ahead and import into that performance indicator into your rubric. So this rubric for the midterm includes all of the course objectives that you look for, the organization, word choice, all of those things, those performance indicators that you look for. And then you also gives you an opportunity to take a look at the multiculturalism characteristics that we look at as an institution, and that helps us collect data from these opportunities. You'll notice that the points are dropped off over on the side, and it didn't come into your total point score. So then, to take a look at that interactive grading rubric, when you're ready to grade, you'll go to, there's a couple of ways you can get there, but we can go to SpeedGrader, and it will load the submissions. So we have Frodo in your Sandbox course. Let's imagine that Frodo did submit his midterm exam essay. You're going to see that. You're going to see a preview in this window. You will also see a download option over to the right in the student pane, where you can actually download that document if you needed to. But you'll also see the view rubric. So that'll bring up the rubric for this student. I can scroll over, and then I can just click and indicate how that student did in these different performance indicators. And then when you get to the multiculturalism, you would just indicate how you felt the student performed regarding this particular multiculturalism criteria. So when we click on Save, then here's the rubric results that you can see, and then student Frodo will also be able to see how you graded him on those different areas. Hopefully that helps out a little bit. As far as the rubric builds, let me know, and we can certainly help you put those rubrics together and insert the appropriate multiculturalism performance criteria that matches your particular assignment. Again, reach out, let me know how we can help.